Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Heritage. And on today's episode, we've got a unique UNESCO World Heritage Site, Mount Huangshan, which is a mountain that features very prominently in Chinese literature,
Yep.
but that's not the only reason it's known.
Yep. So the mountain has been acclaimed in art and literature for much of China's history, and today it continues to do so for poets, painters, tourists, photographers, all come out to this mountain because it is so beautiful to see it, to write about it, to take photos of it. This mountain has itself inspired so much human art and literature that it is considered, in addition to being a place of pristine natural beauty, a world cultural heritage site.
Because
Uh,
it's so inspirational.
yeah, it has been so inspirational. It's been so influential. The scenery is effectively the mountain is a very broken sort of ridgeline. A lot of the rocks kind of break off and jut and form their own miniature peaks throughout the entirety of the mountain and the range around it.
Very jagged landscaping.
Yeah, very jagged. But a lot of clouds and heavy mist like to form in the region, giving the impression from almost wherever you stand on the mountain that you are standing on an island among other islands floating atop the clouds.
In the sky, that's kind of badass,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. As if instead of the mountain connecting to the earth, it connects to the ground, like almost a very literal interpretation of biblical heaven, of just land masses rising out of the clouds instead of out of the ground.
Very, very beautiful.
So yeah, it is in it is incredibly awe inspiring to see. Um
It also very heavily inspired a good part of Chinese history. The Shanshu mountain and water style of the mid 16th century is almost directly inspired by this area. And Mount Huangshan specifically is often denoted as the loveliest mountain in China.
Yep.
So it's quite beautiful, and many of the peaks jut over 1,000 meters high. So really, really tall mountains. What is that in English metrics?
Um, oh, I don't have the conversion for 1,000 meters, but
It's a lot.
I'm gonna go with at least 3,000 feet. It would be more than that by a decent chunk, just from the shorthand conversion going off in my head, not being a accurate conversion.
That is about 3,280 feet.
Yeah,
So quite, and not a huge mountain, but still sizable nonetheless.
yeah, yeah.
And
It
oof,
oh, you can go.
I was just
Um,
gonna say there's 64 temples that are also constructed on the mountain
Yeah,
in the
and they
range.
were yeah, they were constructed in the 13th and 14th century as well, so they are very old temples. Um, in 1606, a monk named Pumen came and built the famous Fa Meditation Temple on the mountain. It's been a home to a lot of Chinese monks and hermits as well. So it has religious significance with the temples and with the religious figures who either spent some time or most of their time on this, in this place of pristine beauty.
Yeah,
Uh,
gorgeous.
yeah, it is. It is. It's just. It's arguably the single most inspirational place on earth, given the amount of just cultural works it has inspired. And the reason for that inspiration is the second half of its inclusion as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, because this site does double duty as both a natural and a cultural heritage site, meaning its value to humanity is twofold. Uh, the Mount Hongshan here is home to a large number of endemic species, many of which are only found on the mountain. Um, it is home to 1/3 of China's moth species and half of all of China's ferns. So a lot of that sort of grassy greenness and natural sort of ancient sort of lichen, moss and mold with the small sort of shrubs growing out of it. Almost all of those only found there. So the plants themselves are unique in an area whose geography is so unique.
And it's really cool too because the authenticity of the site is pristine. It has maintained its natural scenery and its natural look for centuries, and actually, a part of the protection plans and the site management plans, um, they have a master plan in works which would allow for them to both maintain and preserve the natural beauty of it, but then also help promote and help sustain tourism, which is usually one of the biggest downfalls to a lot of these natural sites is tourism and the landscape not being able to fully handle the amount of tourism or the amount of traffic that goes through. So this is a really interesting one, and the craziest part about it is the annual visitation, 2.74 million a year, and it's increasing at like a 9% rate. So, like I said, visitors and tourism present one of the biggest hurdles, one of the biggest challenges that the site is going to face in the near future, especially as these numbers need to be stabilized. You have to build the facilities to support them, with that being visitor centers, outhouses, areas for parking. There's a lot of infrastructure that goes into a lot of these site management plans that parks and forests and natural landscapes really have to take into account. And that doesn't even account for the stuff that the tourists do that would be considered negligent acts, smoking, littering, accidentally starting large scale forest fires. I know that's happened a few times here in the U.S.
Yeah, yeah. One way to get around that is I don't think you're allowed to camp on the mountain.
But that
Yeah,
doesn't stop them from smoking or littering.
yeah,
And
no,
water shortages help make that even worse. Droughts.
yeah.
And then a couple of other threats that they face are invasive species like the pinewood nematode pests, storm damages to the trees, landslides, dams, things that could potentially happen. I mean, I know this is a very geographically active area, seismically, being near the Ring of Fire, near the Pacific Rim. So, like, there is the potential of earthquakes. Large scale storms can do massive landslides. But
No,
they do have management plans in place, and it's pretty unmolested as a landscape.
yeah. And one of the things that leads into the protections and management plans as well that kind of brings additional attention to the area is that among the 270 distinct species that are known to live on the mountain, 13 of them are on the endangered list, meaning that there is extra attention paid to the area to make sure that the populations of those animals don't decline further. Among them is the clouded leopard, which is a very beautiful cat. Um,
But I think that's actually a perfect place for us to wrap up here. I mean, we covered the site, we covered why it's important, and the management
it's
plan.
it's just beautiful, and people keep writing about it and painting it. So like it's just prolific
Oh
in the
no,
amount.
we're contributing to
Right.
the art cycle.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
we've,
no.
we've done a commentary on the mountain. We too have fallen victim to Mount uh Huangshan, and with that we should bid you adieu.
Thank you for watching.